So yeah, we should just be getting them into the map draft in a moment. And this is officially it's called the losers bracket, but I kind of want to prefer to refer to it as the lower bracket, because these players started in this bracket. We have a slightly different setup for this tournament, just so that we had a bit more even matchups in the earlier phases of the tournament and hopefully less one-sided games. So here we have Albertoha. What, I can't speak, I'm so sorry. Albertoha. I'm not very good at pronouncing that. And I think it's Pume, because I think he's Spanish. I don't think it's Pume. That just sounds wrong, so I'm going to call him Pume. Hopefully that's correct. And Alberto is a long-time member in the AoE1 community, so anyone that's been a long-lasting participant of the community should know Alberto. I think he's not been playing Return of Rome that much, but yeah, we'll see how well he can do it here. I think he was participating in the DE tournament as well. Pume here is, I think he's been on the Discord, community Discord for a little while, but it's only more recently he's been playing games. I believe this is the first actual event that I've seen him play in. But I've heard from a few people saying team games he's a fairly strong player. And here we have Ocean Ring and Dark Forest band. Dark Forest always just a little bit up in the air. Sometimes it's quite easy to rush sometimes on that map before you can get the tree line bottlenecks walled off. Pume's randomed Gold Mountain. I don't know if he made a mistake there. Or maybe he doesn't mind what he gets. But yeah, Ocean Ring was banned by Pume. Some people like to just avoid playing some of the water maps, and Ocean Ring is definitely one of the more complicated ones. Continental, an old school map picked. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like Inland picked as the other pick here, and Pume going for Sahara. Some of the okay, Oasis picked. I mean, that is an old school map as well. And yeah, so we have quite a few more open maps. Gold Mountain can be usually a little bit more open. You start a little bit further away from your opponent there. I'm just going to remind them. So yep, straight into the Civ draft. The ones with EXP. Looks like Pume hasn't done his homework before starting. But anyway, just focus on the draft for the time being. So we're just trying to like make sure they're doing the right thing. Alright, Popeye and Shang and Lakviat both banned. Like I said in my video, I'm not as hot on the Lakviat at the moment, but I still did expect it to be sort of quite highly contested. Carthaginians and Yamato, those are two pretty good civs. Minoans picked up by Alberta straight away as well for that Continental map. Phoenicians would be a decent grab here for Pume. They can be very nice on the on any map really. Assyrians early pickup, again, as we all know, not one of my favourites, and Phoenicians do get picked now, so fair enough. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Assyrians, especially on this particular map pool. They don't strike me as a particularly strong civ. And what do we have now? So potentially Persians could be picked up just because Oasis and Sahara are in the map pool and they can be quite aggressive in the early tool. I'm just going to make sure I just turn the music down a little bit because I noticed that it was quite loud on the playback. Chosen and Greeks are picked up though. Interesting choices from Alberto. Macedonians. So yeah, I feel like a few civs. Like, I think I'd much prefer pretty much all the other civs that are left in the pool. Like I said, I've been bigging up the Egyptians recently. Persians do get picked up now. So yeah, Egyptians, Romans and Palmyrans all seem like decent civs to me left over. Romans, there we go. Babylonians is picked up by Alberto. And Pume is what's this last pick going to be. It's always a little bit weird because even though it's best of 5, we draft a lot of civs, so actually most of the civs do actually get picked in the end. Especially when you get a mismatch of these bands and first picks. So Pume just going to go with the Egyptians, which is a fine choice. And we'll see how that goes out for them. So I'm just going to double check that we're on the right page. Everyone's doing what they should be. Oh, right, okay. And yeah, we'll get the lobby set up I say straight away, hopefully as soon as possible for the 2 players. Like I said, I'm not sure what the skill level of both of these players is at. Really, like I said, I've not seen either of these play in Return of Rome tournaments until now. I don't know, maybe Alberto was in the old Battle Royale tournament. Let me have a look. I spelled that wrong? Oh, it's the Battle Royale, isn't it? Nope, doesn't like that. Alberto, let's have a look. Or not. I think he was listed as a... Okay, maybe not. Oh yeah, he's listed as a caster for the 1v1 tournament. I'm not sure how many games he did cast at the end. I remember casting a few games. But yeah, I don't think Alberto was in this tournament, no. So yeah, I've not seen him play in Return of Rome, but like you said, he's an old school DE player. And like I said, Pume more of a recent member of the community, but I think he is a fairly solid player on AoE2, from, if I'm remembering correctly, from what I've been told through the grapevine. And yeah, there's players I think they're just a little bit confused about the lobby settings and stuff, which is a little bit unfortunate because we did give everyone the information. But then a lot of players unfortunately don't read all the fine print. his lobby up. Okay, so having to sort of hold the player's hands through the beginning process here. Hopefully this won't take too long. And then we'll go back over the map. Well, like I said, a bit strange that the Gold Mountain got randomed there. But maybe he just didn't mind, maybe he just didn't have a decision and just let the time tick out, and that got auto-picked. But like I said, we got the more open maps with the sort of hybrid map of Continental, but with the Minoans probably being used there. But as I've said before, sometimes Continental you can still get those early rushes in on the land, and the water it can often not be too relevant, but if you can get some tree lines walled in. But yeah, there's I thought Alberto was Italian. They're just checking the pings of the server to decide what server they do want to select. Hi Katie and Jesse. Alberto the 5-rack Russia. Like I said, I've not seen, again, like I said, about Alberto is an old school player, but I've just not seen either of these players actually play Return of Rome games. Popeye's betting on Pume. Like I said, I've heard people say he's a fairly strong player, so again, I'm very interested to see. Oh wow, Alberto's pings are like all really. Where does Alberto live? His best ping is 218 in West US. Is he like... His flag was Mexico. Wait, how do you know what his flag was? Are you on the Discord? I didn't know you were on the Discord. On the casters thing. Oh. Was that? I thought it said Italian. Oh no, it is Mexican. Okay. I just looked at the colours. So fair enough. That was a good eye there. Okay, I think they are nearly ready to go. Yeah, we got the rotor version of Highland locked in, which is always our first map. So it'll be interesting to see what civs get played where. I feel like for the more open maps, Alberto would probably want to save the Carthaginians. Like I said, he's got a few what I would consider slightly odd civilizations for the draft. think Pume is... I don't know. I mean, I guess it's fairly balanced. Maybe Pume goes for the Phoenicians. I think he's going to want to save the Phoenicians for Conti, though. Maybe Yamato on Conti. But then Yamato is really good on Oasis and Sahara. That's the thing. That's a problem with the Yamato, is you can only play him once when you want to play him like basically everywhere. But yeah, with both Shang and Lakviat being out, it does middle things up a bit. I mean, I didn't say you were wrong. At no point did I say you were wrong. I just said I thought it looked like it was Italy. Yeah, I think we're nearly ready to go now. Huh? Yes, yeah, I was going. Alberto's doing the. All right, so Alberto's doing the old DE rolls where you announce like he's basically announced his Civ on the Discord chat. Yeah, so I mean, he's just made it obvious that he's not played the Return of Rome lobby. But yeah, obviously in AoE2 you can have hidden Civ. Hiya Wattle, how you doing, man? Return of Rome you can have hidden Civ on, so you got each the players can pick without revealing, which is something you can't do in the DE version of the game. But now it looks like we are finally into the game, so I will get us loaded in. And I'm a little bit surprised by what I did see from the Civ picks, because I was saying, I'm going to mute the music now as we get ourselves into game 1 of this best of 5 between Pume and Alberto. But I'm a little bit surprised because, like I was saying, I thought these civs would be saved, but we've got the Carthaginians versus the Persians here. And like I said, the Persians, their strongest maps are the very open maps. I mean, Highland is still a relatively open map, but obviously compared to something like Sahara or Oasis, those are the most open maps. Pume first to go for the centre. He's actually found another elephant there. I think he's unfortunately going to do the classic one tile miss, unless... Wow, okay. That was very lucky. Alberto does find... Oh, he didn't tag the elephant there. That's interesting. So what was the... What is Pume doing? Did he try to go back to get that elephant? This is very confusing. Alberto obviously went to the centre of the map and didn't find the elephant, so he's just assuming that Pume is long gone. He is going to get 3 elephants, so that was very strange. I don't really know what happened there. So unfortunately, Alberto is going to miss out on the central elephants. He does have the extra starting resources that the Carthaginians do get, and he is going to find his gazelle at the very least. I think unfortunately is this going to be another one tile miss? Okay, he does find one of his own elephant there, so likely is the case he'll tag that and bring that home. He's got another villager, looks like, just searching for his other elephant there. Unfortunately, again, it's another one tile miss. He does find some of his berries, and I think he's going to find the extra berry patch there as well. So he does know where all those are at the very least. If we have a look back here, Pume probably want to... Okay, I was going to say make sure he doesn't kill all the elephant at once. That'd be a little bit wasteful on the decay. Another elephant here and here. But yeah, 3 elephants from the centre as the Persians is going to work very, very nicely for him there. I'm just going to switch back so I can actually see the Twitch chat, so we can see what you lovely viewers are saying. I'm not actually that familiar with these two players, to be honest, Wattle. Like I said, Alberto is an old school DE player, but I don't recall any of his like competitive games, and I don't think he's played Return of Rome competitively. And again, I think Pume is newish to Age of Empires 1 in general, or at least competitive side of it. I believe this is the first tournament he's played in as well. So again, I'm not 100% sure about the... yeah, like I said, he was noted as a caster as one of the other tournaments. So yeah, I'm a little bit unfamiliar with both players. KT was saying that Alberto plays quite aggressively though. So we'll see if that is the case. He does have an idle villager there as he sends another vill forward. Yeah, you get the whole ring around. That's why, like, when I'm playing the game, like, I always scout those little one-tile blocks, because it's just, like, just really hurts you on the inside when you find out later. But yeah, Alberto going pretty much straight to his opponent here. I think he might spot the house now. Yeah, he does do, so he knows it's in the right area. House is obviously with much shorter line of sight, so will not spot the villager. And Pume is clicking up a little bit faster, a lot less idle TCE time. You can see that. Is that going to spot that? Not quite. 20 vills for Pume and only 19 for Alberto. Pume getting up much quicker. And Pume's not going forward. He is going to need to get himself a barracks of his own down fairly soon. Normally you want to have that up and finished before the tool age is in, so a little bit late here, especially because we've got double barracks in the face from Alberto. Barracks only just going up now. These villagers might spot out the barracks now. I don't know if you can see the change in the ground there actually, but yeah, now he does spot the barracks. First clubber is out. The tool age, the clubbers aren't too much of a threat. The quick house goes down so the second barracks can be finished. And second barracks for Pume, I'm a little bit surprised by that. I would have expected maybe an archery range being placed down. Normally you do see Persians playing for the scouts in the early game, but obviously we're not going to have time for scouts to be played out here. Alberto now hitting the tool age as well. Armor upgrade is coming in, the all-important upgrade. And needlework is already in for Pume. So he's going to be able to fight back a little bit here. And again, I'm not sure how familiar Alberto is with the community patch, so he might be a little bit surprised by how quickly... Oh, I mean, the armor tech still isn't even in yet, to be fair. But he might be a little bit surprised by how good the villagers are at fighting back the axes. Axe upgrade just coming in now. And also in for Pume now. And yeah, Pume doing a little bit better of a job of keeping that villager production going at the moment. Still, yeah, 5 villagers ahead now. He is on the verge of being housed. And Axa is definitely going to take down one of these villagers, maybe not. See, the villagers are a little bit faster in the tool age now due to one of the changes in the community patch, so you can actually outrun the axes with villagers now, which makes the initial axes a lot less threatening. And yeah, Alberto just sticking to the axe and not adding in any slingers for the time being. And where are... Looks like Pume is actually starting to send axes forward, as he seems to be comfortable defending with the villagers for the time being. So only actually 1 villager kill, and that's actually in favour of Pume, so some pretty nice villager micro just to make sure that damage is being spread out and not killing any villagers, although we have a lot of idle time at the moment now. And you can see, oh, the market is already down. I was going to say the farm's down before the market, but that was not the case. And again, the villagers being employed to just defend against the axes here. Tool working just coming in now, and now we're going to see some axes in Alberto's base here. Watchtower has been researched, so maybe that's going to be placed down. Is that going to be forward? I don't think he has a villager forward anymore, so I think that will be a defensive tower, possibly on the wood line. Trying to put the granary up, but the axemen are there. Alberto does have the needle working himself, so he is aware of that technology, so that's good to see. So I think you can actually win this fight against the Axes with that many villagers if you didn't just let that one get killed. But maybe he's just, again, not 100% used to the power of the needlework technology. So the biggest difference there is the Axes with their 2 armor in normally would take 1 damage from a villager, but because the villagers get +1, they do 2 damage, which effectively is double damage. So it's still a small amount of numbers there, but it makes a big difference. Yeah, Alberto is still in his opponent's base, but Pume is still at 5 villagers ahead. Both players still only on the barracks for the time being, by the looks of it. Watchtower just trying to secure the berries still. He is taking the berries at the top there, so yeah, he's only added in the 1 farm for the time being. And the tower should probably go up now. Yeah, 2 villager kills apiece. Interested to see, I'm like a little bit surprised that neither player has thought to like try to add an archery range. Obviously, like when your opponent has so many barracks, it's quite easy for them to switch into the slinger. But I think I would be tempted. Pume having to pull the wood line here as there's a good force of axes here now. And at this point, Persians and Carthaginians are fairly even. Those initial extra resources and the hunt bonus kind of done their thing. And I guess there's still a little bit of hunt left, so Pume is taking advantage of that. Lots of axes in for both players. And a lot of villagers being pulled here. And I think, yeah, Alberto being forced back. Alberto focusing down some houses, so Pume is housed for the time being. Quick walls by Alberto to just defend his little bit of eco here. And slingers are starting to be added now. And obviously slingers much less effective in Return of Rome than they are in DE. But stone mining is coming in, and then when you do have the stone mining in, those slingers are still quite a deadly force to deal with. So very back and forth game at the moment. Again, Pume is just still ahead on that eco, which I think is going to give him the edge unless Alberto can get some solid push through in at some point. He is very heavily outmanned on the military count now though. And yeah, that's the leftover of most of Alberto's forces. He's got another couple of slingers coming out. They are going to be caught out by the axe there. And bowmen are being produced now, so a handful of those in the queue. I mean, it just needs to get down a few more houses. And probably going to see a bit of a clear up here. But yeah, Alberto just trying to run away. But it looks like now Pume's got a firm foothold on this game. It looks like yeah, it's just a bunch of houses going up at the back there. Alberto does have some nice defensive towers, but potentially this pit's going to be taken down, well, very, very slowly as the one villager repairs it. And it looks like Pume's just clearing up the front of his base now. And let's have a look. Pume, yeah, Pume's clicked to the Bronze Age now. And that's probably, I mean, a decent chance that maybe Alberto does just tap out when he sees the Bronze Age come in. Pume's still 6 villages ahead. Alberto not, currently making, he's still adding in axes. But yeah, Pume's going to need to get himself on gold to start being able to get the resources for maybe cavalry in the Bronze Age, which he isn't doing just yet, unless that's, no, that's not villagers, that's another wave of axes going forward. And it looks like the last of Alberto's army is being cleared up now. Actually, there is one more axer in the barracks there. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised Alberto's still, Pume's still not shifted onto gold yet, and all the Persian units in the Bronze Age do require gold as they don't get access to chariots. So hopefully he sort of figures out what he's doing. Well, I mean, like I said, he's in a very good position here. I think the storage pit here will be taken down now with this many axes. There's a couple of villagers still trying to repair that. I think at that point, when the axes ran away, it probably would have been better to just delete the pit and build a new one. But yeah, this is almost definitely. I mean, actually, there's a bowman there picking away, which probably will kill a few of the axes there. So Pume does hit the Bronze Age. He is researching wheel. Hopefully he knows that the Persians don't get chariots. Like I said, I think he's still sort of learning some aspects of AoE1. Wolf getting involved there. I think he's actually going to kill that Axer. Somewhat hilariously. Wolf with a kill there, 1 kill total, or Grey Wolf in fact. And the pit has now gone down, so this is a little bit late, because obviously Pume could have been creating units already at this point, although he's not got a single stable as far as I can tell. And at the moment it looks like he's just expanding his eco. Okay, he's going for the composite bowman as his play, which to be fair against the Carthaginians is a pretty decent choice, as it does deal quite nicely with a lot of their units. Though normally the go-to initially straight out of the gate would be cavalry, just because you can build those from the stable instantly as soon as you hit the Bronze Age. Wolf still getting in big damage hit. Oh, Wolf down. RIP Wolf. You will be remembered. But yeah, I mean, Bronze Age still nowhere near coming in for Alberto, so he's just trying to wall up his base for the time being. There's absolutely enormous walls that he's been investing into here. Axes are going to be able to slip round. But yeah, okay, cavalry is being added now finally. I don't know where that stable did get put down. Where is the stable? I guess if we click on that, maybe it will tell me. It did not. My eyes cannot find the stable. It's in there somewhere. Why can't I see it? Help me, game. Oh, it's there. It's blending in. It looks very similar to the barracks at the back there for the Persians. But yeah, the walls are going to be fully up now. So possibly Pume is going to need to think about a forward siege workshop, especially as those towers are up as well. But again, Alberto just nowhere near the Bronze Age. And he, like I said, there was the chance that he resigned when that Bronze Age comes in. Sometimes a lot of people would see that as the time to just give in. But Alberto playing it out for now, maybe just getting a feel for the game to get himself into the series. But yeah, composite bowman coming in now. Not a huge number of military units on the table, so whenever Wolf gets involved. I think Pume was sort of half focusing on adding in more eco. Well, there's only a single extra TC. Normally we see like an extra 2 added in. And a little bit pinched for food at the moment, but yeah, just balancing out the eco. Most of the resources fairly low on the count. And Alberto just slowly building up his food count to get to that 800 he needs. And now here we go, forward siege workshop. Unfortunately, the villagers are going to get caught out here, although they do have the wheel in, so they should be able to just run away. And the cavalry should be able to deal with these bowmen very easily, and they don't even have their tool age armor in. So there's villagers bowmen gonna go down very quickly. Urbanization coming in to double that pop space for the houses there. It's gonna be quite nice for Pume to just keep on massing those units now. And yeah, fairly sizable villager lead. Siege workshop does come down. Stone thrower instantly in the queue. And Alberto's preparing for the oncoming storm. Like I said, we're going for extra barracks here, interestingly. Maybe we're just trying to get those up in the wall. But yeah, good mass of compies already out on the field. And normally you can deal with compies fairly well with siege, but obviously Alberto's still not in the Bronze Age yet, so doesn't actually have access to it just yet. So these compies are going to be quite dangerous as the stone thrower does start chewing through the small gate there. And is there an overchop there? No, not quite. He's just got himself on the wood line, so Alberto does have to reposition his eco. Stone thrower going to come forward. Axe is just being massed up for the time being, I guess, just to give Alberto a unit to play with for the time being. And the axes can do fairly well against cavalry. Do still do the bonus damage there. And yeah, Pume is going to need to run with the stone thrower. Bronze Age finally comes in now. Strangely, a couple of farms were coming down there, but it's going to be additional stable. Ooh, nice hit from the stone throwers, but he does lose one. This probably is still worth it for Alberto. Has bought himself a little bit of time, but it's still going to be a little bit of a struggle from this position. Carthaginians do get a lot of nice military bonuses in the Bronze Age, but obviously, yeah, it's nearly triple the economy here, 70 villages to 26. And we do have a defensive siege works coming down. I don't know if we've got time for government centre. That might be a little bit optimistic thinking there. Unless, I mean, it does get nobility for the Carthaginians for free when you do that, but I don't think we have time for extra TCs at the moment. Axes again just trying to get to that stone thrower. I think they should be taken down by all the bows here. And I think this is probably getting pretty close to Alberto having to tap out now. There's just compies on all sides pinning him in. Alberto in. And yeah, the one is called, and that's going to be 1-0 to Pume. And there was quite a close, intense game in that early phase, but Pume getting up to the tool age a little bit faster than this opponent just meant he was, well, I say that, but yeah, actually got slower to get the barracks up. But yeah, Alberto being a little bit slower just meant those technologies took a little bit longer to take in, and the villagers were able to defend with the needlework in there on the villagers. And yeah, Pume just able to add in just an extra few villagers that just gave him that eco edge. And yeah, being able to get those 3 elephants from the centre of the map definitely helping Pume out there. Obviously Alberto didn't find any, which is... That's one of the bad things about trying to go for the centre elephants, is like, if you go and you just don't find anything, then that's just villager idle time, which is unfortunately what happened for Alberto there. But yeah, pretty much as soon as Pume managed to deal with this initial rush, he just had the eco edge, and that sort of carried him up to victory. And then yeah, Alberto just taking a little bit too long to get to the Bronze Age there. And yeah, Pume in just a very nice position. It was a little bit slow in the early Bronze Age from Pume. I feel like he didn't quite have himself ready to like immediately start producing units straight away. But yeah, like I said, he got himself into a nice enough position where he could take his time, and yeah, the nice forward siege workshop to just break through the walls. And then that was GG. So 1-0, but it looks like these players are pretty close in the earlier phases of the game. So if Alberto can maybe clean up his Stone Age a little bit, just to get up there a little bit faster, then we could have quite a competitive series on our hands. So we saw the Carthaginians lose to the Persians there. And like I said, I'm a little bit surprised both these civs got picked just because we have both Oasis and Sahara in the map pool. I would have expected those to be saved for one of those maps. And then let's see if we can get ourselves into the second game. Oh, it looks like they launched already. Is that right? Or did they cancel? Oh no, okay. I think they're remaking the lobby. So, for anyone that's new, for somehow is new to the stream, the loser gets to pick the next map, and they're allowed to pick any of the maps in the pool, but usually players will pick their own maps. But Alberto is allowed to pick Gold Mountain or Sahara here if he would like. And it does look like it is going to be Continental as the next game, which makes sense. It's Alberto's first map pick. And I think that means we'll probably be seeing the Minoans coming out from Alberto. There's no other reason he would have picked that civ. And Pume has the option of kind of either really the Yamato or Phoenicians. They're both pretty decent civs on Continental. I think I would be tempted to just pick the Phoenicians here and save Yamato for either Oasis or Sahara. But we'll see what Pume's choice is. as I think we're just doing the last couple of settings before launching the game. But yeah, it'll be, like I said, I feel like they were fairly closely matched in the early game there. Just Pume were just a little bit more focused on just keeping that villager production going, and then the fights went fairly evenly early on, and then eventually just sort of snowballed into favour of Pume. So hopefully Alberto comes out swinging in this next game. Well, that said, on the Minoans, you usually want to play a little bit of a slower game, just build yourself up on the water and get those villagers walled in. And let's have a look. See, okay, we have launched. So into game 2 we will go. And it is indeed the Minoans for Alberto, and it is the Phoenicians for Pume. So there we go. So he does decide he wants to save that civilization for a little bit later. And let me get the screen onto the right screen so that you guys can see the game as well as me. And here we go. So, like I said, Continental. Neither player going for... Some players will try and find some shore fish at the start, but both players just going for the more consistent granary onto the berries. Just a little bit of a less risky play. If you don't find your shore fish straight away, it can massively delay your food income and then your villager production as a result. And again, hopefully Alberto knows that you can collect from docks with villagers. I'm not sure if that will come into effect in this game, but it's a thing. I think it's Vertex that still just makes storage pits on water lines, and it triggers me so much. I wish he's such a strong player, and yet he's just like very basic things he just either doesn't know about or forgets every time. But Alberto is just going to start pushing his gazelle in here. So we're not going to go to the water anytime soon. Obviously, with both players going for the granary first. Like sometimes if you can get a nice storage pit, like if you'd managed to get a pit here between the shore fish and the wood line, those are always quite nice storage pits to have. Potentially a similar situation for Pume. I don't know if a storage pit will fit in there actually. That said, maybe it'll go sort of like in this area here. Oh yeah, there we go, managed to squeeze it in. So yeah, nice little batch of 4 shorefish to collect from that. Obviously it does mean in the long run, if Alberto... oh sorry, this is Alberto here, I'm getting confused between the two players. If Alberto does lose control of the water, then you lose control of the wood line as well, but you'd expect him to be able to do fairly well on the water with the Minoans. But the Phoenicians' nice wood collecting bonus obviously keeps them up there for at least the earlier phases of the game. And lots of exploration going on from Alberto here, that's nice to see. Whereas Pume, I think he's just sort of scouted more close to his base just to try and find those initial elephants, which he has farmed both of. And I guess he is going to put up a... Ooh, that villager died there. I heard that. Death to the elephant. That's unfortunate. Just want to garrison the villager. Okay, he's going to switch over. What you can do is just garrison the villager in the TEC and it drops aggro and the elephant will just stand still. But he does finish gathering up from elephant, so it won't be too much food lost to decay that. And a dock going up here, interestingly. Oh, storage pits already go up on the wood line there. Interesting, fair enough. But that means Pume is going to... Oh no, Alberto is actually going to be first to the water here. Obviously with the Minoans with the cheaper docks. Makes that quite nice, but again... Oh, I thought... Okay, barracks going up now. I was like, I thought that was a second storage pit for a second there. But no, it is a barracks. As Alberto is going to be the first to click up to the tool age. And Pume added in an extra villager. Which slightly delayed him and a little... Oh no, about the same idle TC time actually. It's just that extra villager. Actually that looks like way more than 20-second gap. That looks weird. Why? Is that? I'm a little bit confused about that. Maybe it is 20 seconds. Fair enough. But look, they just look from the bar. It makes it look like it'd be more than 20 seconds. But it should be. Yeah, it should only be around that 20 seconds behind. And ooh, Painter is going to get spotted. I think the barracks is going to go up though. It's interesting Alberto went for this as the Minoans. As the Minoans are usually... Actually, I think the barracks just isn't going to go up. Although now in the tool age, that villager is faster, so that villager will be able to run away. But the barracks does get denied. Yeah, but a little bit surprised Alberto went for this, because like I said, the Minoans are usually happy to play the long game. The longer the game goes, the stronger their water bonuses become. So I'm just sort of clicking around everywhere, just trying to get a handle on what's happening in this game now. Another villager just... That's the same villager, actually, so that's just going to get bonked on the head by a club and go down. Axer upgrade is coming in, and scout ship coming out for Pume. Alberto just still adding in a slow trickle of fishing boats. Is it just single dock for... Yeah, it's still only a single dock for Pume, but it looks like, yeah, another one's going up on the sort of northeast side of the island here. But yeah, that barrack's getting denied, and curiously Alberto's still committed to researching the techs. He does have a barracks at home now, which he's going to start creating axes from, so he is still going to commit to the axes. Pume is forward with his own axes now, but most of Alberto's economy is behind those walls. But again, scout ship coming out first for Alberto, and if he can get the control of the water there, he's going to be able to range a lot of the wood line there. I think Alberto may be able to like tuck in on the inside of the wood line there, but he's going to lose a lot of space. And again, axes coming forward, and those are naked axes. They don't have any upgrades on them. I think Pume just using them as a mask of the threat for the time being, just to force a little bit of idle time for the villagers. Little barracks coming down, and yeah, look, Pume just again just creeping ahead on that eco count for fishing boats, but yes, nearly 10 eco units behind now. And the axes do have both the upgrades in for Alberto, so he will easily win out on those fights. But like I said, I think these axes are just being used... I mean, actually it does add in the infantry armor now, but I think they were mostly just being used to cause Alberto a little bit of bother. Another round of axes does get spawned in. Scout ship is starting to come around now. There is actually a defensive scout ship for Alberto, but it does take quite some time for a ship to take out another ship, so we may be able to get in maybe a villager kill or two. He's going just for the fishing boats, actually. Somehow that Axer got in like 2/3 of that HP of damage, which means somehow Pume is going to win this battle here. I guess yeah, he's going to try and repair, but I think he's not going to get there in time. Second scout ship does come in though. I think Pume's taken a little bit of a while to add in extra scout ships. Yeah, the second one's only just coming around now. So not going to be able to get too much damage done just yet, and now it's 2 docks for Alberto. Then looks like a third one yet coming up on the water there. So again, in terms of like military offensiveness, both players fairly even, but Pume's just done a much better job of building his eco up behind this. And he's like almost nearly double the eco count. Alligator getting, or crocodile getting involved there. And Axe is still managing to get some damage in. Tool working actually only just researched now. But yeah, Alberto very far behind in this game, and now you can see a big number of scout ships are coming around. Axe is going to get fairly easily taken care of as the bowmen are already up in defence. Pume's not really felt... I mean, he's sort of his house walled in there, but other than that, he's kind of just used mostly the wood line as defence. And yeah, easily sweeps up all those axes. Alberto just trying to get some more fishing boats down, but he isn't making any villagers at all. Whereas you can see 37 villagers for Pume now. Right, Tharkags, it's been a little while since I've seen your name in the chat. But yeah, somewhere, like Carver said, somewhere about 10 to 20 minutes is usually a good estimate. Because obviously it says 16 minutes here, but it's at 1.7 speed. It says 1.6 there, but I'm pretty sure it's 1.7. Which is effectively 10 minutes of real time. And where are all of Pume's scout ships? Okay, they're just trickling around one at a time. And it's 9 ships to 5 now. And Alberto might need to consider pulling his fishing boats away. But at the moment it doesn't seem to feel threatened. Kind of funny how that barracks is just still sat there at 88% constructed. Oh, this is a little bit unfortunate for Alberto. He's going to take a lot of free damage here. Actually, Alberto's missing the woodworking upgrade as well, which is going to put him massively behind, both in wood collection and just the combat effectiveness of these ships. So yeah, Alberto not going to be able to win out in these trades. Sorry, I was just like watching the slinger fight here. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. Yeah, now the fishing boats do get pulled away. Pume's going to win in the water, and that's the last scout ship for Pume. He's adding for Alberto. He's adding a couple more in the queue. But once you lose control of the water, it's ever so difficult to get it back. Pume's actually selling wood, trying to rebalance his eco by the looks of it. Bought some, bought food, and yeah, he's just bought himself up to the Bronze Age. It's a very costly thing to do in AoE1, but I guess he just noticed he had a huge stack of wood. Just decides to rebalance the eco there, get himself up to Bronze Age. And yeah, Alberto on literally just 19 food, 0 collectors, no fishing boats left. I think this is going to be the GG called pretty swiftly. Yeah, Pume looking pretty good in this series. Like I said, he feels like he's just going for a little bit more passive build the military buildings at home, just defend from the base and build up that eco, and that just resulted in a very large advantage in the later phases of the game. And I'm very surprised Alberto hasn't tapped out yet. He only has 8 villagers left. 5 of them are here. I'm not sure where the other ones are. They're over here, and they're getting caught out by the axes. They're going to hide in the TC, or they're not actually. They're just going to walk up to the TC. I guess he just right-clicked it. And Bronze Age is going to be in, and there's nothing Alberto can do at this point. He's got no food to produce any units, and the one is called. GG from Pume. And again, if that was, I think, if anything, a slightly more convincing game. Obviously, the early aggression from Alberto got spotted out. Where is it? That villager. How did it get spotted there? Actually, oh, the villager went in deep. Okay. Yeah, it went a little bit too... That's a little bit clumsy by Alberto there, because obviously he sees the houses. So yeah, just a little bit clumsy with the villager there. Pume spots it. So yeah, I actually missed that part. So yeah, although that was a little bit weird that Pume didn't like try to just track the villager. And so yeah, Alberto went for the barracks anyway, and then the clubber obviously spotted the foundation. And yeah, unfortunately, the villager didn't ever get the barracks down, and that thwarted Alberto's early play. Because like I said, he did get up to the tool age a little bit faster than his opponent. And then yeah, Pume just the first to sort of get fishing boats out, up and running, and had the food to just keep adding in villagers as the game went on. And yeah, like I said, fairly one-sided affair after, well yeah, basically pretty much as soon as that barracks didn't go up. Which leads us into game 3. Pume will destroy us and lose a bracket. I mean, it looks like he's got a very good macro game. So that's been quite impressive. And so let's have a look here. So Minoans losing out to the Phoenicians there. And that leaves Oasis as the only map Alberto has left, but Pume has the Yamato still. And they're definitely one of the strongest civs on that map. So Pume in a very solid position here. Both players in the lobby already. So yeah, I don't know what Alberto's pick is going to be for Oasis. Maybe the Chosen? Chosen can still do a scout rush of sorts. The cheaper storage pit techs do save you quite a bit of food there. You save something like 90 food, something between 90 and 100 food, which for that like very initial play is quite decent. But obviously the Yamato just get cheaper scouts, so they can just keep adding them in, as well as the cheaper archery ranges and cheaper stables. And has the game been launched? I don't see the lobby anymore. Well, it looks like this remaking the lobby. Something must have gone slightly wrong there. And hello again to Naz. And are we underway? Okay, oh yeah, so it is going to be Oasis. Alberto going to his second map there. And like I said, I feel like Pume would do very well with the Yamato here. And I feel like it has to be one of either the Chosen or the Romans. Like I said, again, the Greeks pick does surprise me. Maybe the Greeks do just come out just because Alberto seems to like that civilization. I don't know where else he would have played the Civ. But yeah, personally, I'd probably pick either the Romans or the Chosen here. And it looks like we are away. So let us get into game 3. And here, yeah, we do see the Yamato out from Pume. And it is the Chosen from Alberto. So again, I do slightly question the Greek pick as his third pick there. And we'll see if Alberto can bring out something out in this game 3, or if we're going to see a 3-0 from Pume. Managing to grab an elephant already. And yep, Oasis, like I said, you tend to have pretty open maps on Oasis. Usually fairly difficult to wall the way up. Actually, Alberto does have some quite thick wood lines near him there. So it wouldn't be impossible to wall. Although maybe it's quite pretty open here, to be fair, and it would take quite a lot of stone. But definitely more open for Pume on this sort of south side here. Take a lot of walling up to close all that up. Pume going on another bit of a walk around the houses, just have a little bit of exploration. I guess he's not really in any rush to use start collecting from the elephants just yet, but it is a little bit risky if you do mess that up. It can, I mean, we saw in one of the games before he did get one of his villagers killed by an elephant, so sometimes it can be better to be safe than sorry, as they say. Looks like Alberto did find one of his nearby elephants. There are quite a lot of elephants spread out on Oasis. Yeah, there's 12 that my tracker is picking up there. I think there's probably 13, but that one already being deceased doesn't get to be part of the count, unfortunately. Villager, again, just do a little bit more exploration. And yeah, like I said, Yamato just very good on this map because they get both the cheaper stables and the cheaper scouts, and scouts are a very strong play on this map just because, again, the map is quite open. And then Yamato can follow that up with their cheaper archery ranges and some bowmen as well if the player, the opponent starts trying to make axes to deal with their scouts. So it's just a very nice 1-2 punch that Yamato can do. But like I said, the Chosen do get those cheaper storage pit techs, which can give you some nice savings at the very start of the tool age. But they don't get too much after that point until they reach the later phases of the game. And another couple of elephants found by Pume there. And he's pushing a zebra. What? There's no way he's going to push that zebra all the way back. That must have been a misclick. I was going to say, if he does a double elephant lore and it pushes an zebra at the same time, that's like... there's no way that would have worked, because he would have had the zebras always stop, so the elephants would have caught up with the villager. But yeah, manages to... okay, get the elephants in nice and safely, not losing a villager this time. Storage pit going up on the back wood there as the berries do run out. Does he... ooh, this unfortunate one tile miss on the berries at the top. He might just try and push the zebra in here though. Looks to be the play. He's going to go for the double shepherd move, trying to shuffle those zebra into the storage pit there. Are they going to be nice to him? There we go. He's going to have to kill those before they run off again. And yeah, likewise Alberto pushing in his zebra. So where are we at now? 20 villagers apiece, and Alberto first to click up. Quite a lot of idle time from both players. Obviously neither of these servers has a Stone Age bonus, at least on the land maps, which means you often do get a little bit of idle time, but it's usually not as much as this. You normally expect something a bit closer to maybe like 30 seconds. Barracks going for Pume at home. And another villager coming back with another elephant. That's interesting. Maybe I wonder if that was going to be a forward villager, but he saw the two elephants and just was like, you know what? I'm just going to grab these. Just take them back home again. But yeah, Alberto not going for an aggressive forward this time. It will be interesting to see if Alberto does try to go for some sort of scout play here. Villager is sort of, I think it's just doing a little bit of exploration. And that's another classic one tile miss on that elephant there. And what is going to be the play? So it's actually an archery range, and that strikes me as very unusual, as yeah, boatmen do not do well into scouts. And you would have thought that that would be... oh no, archery range out. Oh, he's just going to build both. No, double archery range from Pume. That's okay. Doing slightly unusual play from both players. Like I said, normally the scouts are the go-to unit on this map. Just because you've got a lot of ground to cover. You have to go around the centre. You can't go for the centre of the map because obviously the Oasis is there with all the wood. Yeah, both players going double archery range. I mean, this still does favour... in fact, this massively favours Yamato because the toolpit techs don't really do much for archers. Obviously, you can get the archer armour, but it's not that big of a tech. He is getting the AXA upgrades regardless. Has 3 axes at home, maybe just in preparation for a potential scout rush, which we know isn't going to come. But yeah, market just going up as well now. It looks like Pume is just happy to grab those initial elephants and just start building up. Like both those archer ranges, 50 wood cheaper. Another elephant found by Alberto does drop aggro. He's just out of aggro range of the elephant there. But he will be able to bring that in. So yeah, very unusual Oasis game here. And yeah, you can see again Pume just slightly ahead on the eco, just been keeping that TC ticking over a little bit better than his opponent. And quite a few villagers going to stone here, which I guess is probably to try and start getting some walls up. Potentially some of those chosen towers going to come down. So I feel that's a few too many villagers. I'm not really I guess he's not building a pit there, so I guess he's just going to gather it all now, and that should hopefully give him enough stone to start fully walling his base. And a few axes do slip forward, but it's going to be very difficult for them to do any damage against a double range opponent. And now, yeah, this axe is still just having a little look around, see what's going on. He does have the 2 axes actually. And now the bowmen are going to start coming forward, and Alberto's not going to have time to fully walk. He has got a few bowmen of his own, obviously, had the double archery range. But I'm going to get a little bit distracted by this archery range here. This gives Alberto time to try and pull away, but that does mean that's a lot of wood wasted on the farms. A lot of houses are just going down just to keep those villagers doing something for the time being. And now the attack starts in earnest. Alberto trading. Woodworking already in again for Pume, so he's been very good again about getting those upgrades in. It's missing for his opponent, so he does just have the range advantage here. And Alberto is swapping into the slingers, but again, 0 villagers on food. And this potentially could be a very quick game 3. I mean, villagers are untouched. I don't think, unfortunately, he's not seen the food down to the south there. That'd be very useful for Alberto. We could just get a granary up on the berries there. Another barracks coming down. Slinger's going to get in some work, but just 1 slinger against that many bows isn't going to be able to tilt the tide. Another wave of bows coming forward. And like I said, a slightly unusual play on Oasis. Pume still coming out ahead. 36 wheels now. He's actually ceased production on the villagers. I don't know if that's just because he's focusing on the attack for the time being. 9 villagers forced idle in the TC. 12 more on the wood line there. And one of the more of those gets picked off. And I don't think Alberto's going to be able to do much from this position. Like I said, unfortunately, he didn't find those food resources there. And he'd only just put down all those farms, and he got immediately pushed off them. And that was a large investment that ended up being, unfortunately, wasted. Yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, I think he's been away from our Return of Rome for quite a while. I think he only dabbled in the first place anyway. I mean, yeah. Pume with a little bit of micro back and forth as the next wave of military comes forward. 37 villas now, so we start adding in villages again. And Alberto just with almost no resources now. 14 villas trapped in the TC. And another few villagers go down.
Yes.
Yeah, Alberto does call it. I was going to say there just feels like there's nothing left for him to do. And that's a 3-0. Fairly convincing game again by Pume. Like I said, in that first game there, it felt fairly close. But Alberto just not able to get his foot into the game in the game 2 and 3. And like I said, they're chosen kind of the best civ he had for the map, but it's still not the greatest of civs. So again, I've got to question the civ draft a little bit. Again, it feels odd to have picked the Greeks this early in the draft. But, I mean, like I said, a good showing in that game 1 by Alberto, but I think Pume just, like I said, the macro game, just on point there. So GG's. I guess we'll finish this off to round out. And we had the Yamato winning off that. And yeah, so Pume looking like pretty solid. Nothing too, like I said, just sort of conservative play from your own base and then push out once you have the advantage. So it'll be interesting to see how he does when he starts to play against some more players who have been playing the game a bit more experienced with Return Rome. But yeah, definitely someone to look out for in this tournament.